Hello and welcome to Game & Muscle Videos. Through the magic of mixed reality, we're going to do a bit of an impromptu review of the Thrustmaster T300 steering wheel and explain to you why this steering wheel is the best wheel at this point in time that you can get for the money. Now, we've used the magic of mixed reality with a giant green screen, the camera on the HTC Vive, and some magic with OBS to combine everything together, and hopefully that will better allow you to see how the Thrustmaster T300 responds to the game and make this review hopefully a little bit more informative or a little bit more clear to those of you that haven't used a force feedback wheel, what a force feedback wheel does and why the T300 is so awesome. Now, the T300 comes in a bunch of different variants, but essentially, in terms of the mechanics and what's going on inside of the wheelbase itself, they're all the same. But you can get one for the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, which also works for the PlayStation 3, and both of those work on the PC. Now, those of you with astute vision will have noticed, if you've been looking at them in the shops, that they come with different rims, and the rims are indeed replaceable on all the Thrustmaster wheels. Even going back to the T500 wheel, those rims all work on the T300. So you can go and get the Formula 1 rim, you can get a leather rim, and I think they also do an Alcantara rim. In this case, we are playing on the PC, and we're using the GTE rim, which comes with the GTE version of the T300. Because yes, not only do they do the different versions for the different platforms, they also do different bundle versions which come with either the cheapo plastic pedals like the default T300, or there's a T300 which the name just escapes me, that's packaged with the clutch, brake and accelerator rather than just a brake and the accelerator pedals. Regardless, as I say, in this case we're using the Ferrari 458 GTE rim, and we're actually in the Ferrari 458 GT2 car in Assetto Corsa. Now, why is the T300 the best force feedback wheel for the money at this point in time? Well, it's 200 quid. As I say, you can change the rims over, which is always nice. But, crucially, and the core of a force feedback wheel is how it delivers force feedback, the depth of that force feedback, and then, outside the force feedback, how the mechanics of the wheel, how much do they actually get in the way of your input? Because although you've got the motors there giving feedback, you also need to be able to precisely and quickly snap inputs into the wheel to direct the car. And with the T300, it does everything pretty much flawlessly. As you see, when you're coming around corners here, the Schumacher S's in this case on the Nürburgring GP track, you get a really good, solid force feedback signal communicating that the car is being pushed around the corner and fighting for grip. But unlike some of the other wheels on the market, we won't say any names, it can, whilst giving its almost full strength force feedback, it also has room, or the motor is good enough that it actually still gives you good textural feel of the road, which allows you to also get a bit of textural feel for stuff like understeer and the tyres scrubbing and fighting for grip, especially if you put a bit of slip effect on in Assetto Corsa. Now, I'm now going to drive really gently with just one magical hand here, and we'll see, hopefully you'll be able to see what the force feedback is doing. I need to use my left hand to downshift. But what force feedback does, and what it really adds to driving games, is it's not just that you get the rumbles and vibrations, which is I think what a lot of people think that's all force feedback wheels do. What it actually does is it communicates the weight of the car, the grip that the car's got, and the loading of the vehicle as it goes around corners. All things that really help you not only drive the car to a basic level, but actually get faster lap times, because you can feel where the vehicle's struggling for grip and what the vehicle's actually doing outside of what it's doing visually. If you're driving with a gamepad, or you're unfortunate enough to be using a keyboard to race with, all you can go by are the visuals. And often, by the time a car is visually moving around, it's too late for you to react, or you'll have already have lost that time. But with force feedback, it's communicating things before the car starts doing what it's going to do, during what it's doing what it's doing, and then afterwards when you've lost control and you've gone off the road. Everything is communicated. So crucially with the T300, and my previous wheel was the G25, but I've had the privilege of using a G25, I've used a G27, I've used a AccuForce wheel and an OSW, and I've used a couple of custom sort of professional grade wheels as well. But of all the consumer wheels that I've tried, the T300 has just a fantastic range in its force feedback. So as I say, when you've got the car fully loaded going around a corner, it still gives you a feel for the small bumps, or if the car suddenly starts understeering or oversteering a little bit, you get good feel for that, which is often not the case with consumer wheels. Often they're sort of drowned out by one single force, so when the car's under high load, they're drowned out. Now, another really good thing, a nice thing about force feedback wheels, is that they actually help you drive the vehicle at a core input level. So when the back of the car starts coming out, the steering wheel will try to automatically correct the vehicle and will try to basically put the car in the direction of least resistance, which is partly how you know what the easiest way or the fastest way around a corner would be. But say you make a big mistake and chuck the back of the car out, you can see here that the wheel is trying to correct the vehicle, which again, if you're playing on a keyboard or using a gamepad, you don't get that automatic control. So just throwing this out here, and the car wants to straighten itself up automatically. Now you do find that the T300 isn't completely perfect in this regard, and this is the case with all consumer wheels. They simply don't have the power and speed to correct everything as you would get in a real sports car. For that, you're going to need to spend £1,000+ on a AccuForce or OSW to get the full corrective ability. But crucially, when you do pop the car out in a driving simulator by accident, or you make a bit of a mistake, the force feedback with the T300 gives you enough information that even when the wheel doesn't have enough speed or power to correct it itself properly, it's giving you enough information that you can then correct it. You can then correct it yourself. So the wheel's not correcting it, but you've got the initial communication from the wheel, and then you can bring it back. And as I say, because the mechanism in the wheel it uses a single motor with a belt drive system, but because the mechanism doesn't have much mechanical resistance there, it allows the wheel to be very free moving. So when it comes to your input, you don't feel like the wheel is getting in the way. And this was one of the big problems with the Thrustmaster T500, the previous wheel that Thrustmaster did. And one of the reasons why a lot of people stuck with the Logitech G25 for so long is because a lot of consumer belt driven wheels had resistance there. So when it came to turning it, you couldn't be as precise as you could with the G25. But here, you can see the wheel is incredibly loose when we're not doing anything. And also when the car's popping out and you need to suddenly throw it back again, the wheel is very loose, allowing for you to snap correct, which comes into play more and more as you get to faster vehicles. Now, outside of the force feedback, which again I can't say strong enough, is absolutely superb. And if you haven't tried a force feedback wheel, go and try one. Go try one in a shop, or just buy a T300 on Amazon. Try it out. If you don't like it, send it back. But outside of the force feedback, the wheel, or this rim, which comes with the GTE version, has a whole bunch of buttons on it, which obviously you can map in your game. They're not the highest of quality feeling buttons, but you know, they don't feel cheap either. They're very defined, and if you play a lot in VR, such as myself, you can easily feel out the buttons with your fingers, apart from the one on the base, which doesn't make any sense why they put a button there. But the wheels on the rim, you can easily feel out and get to without trouble. And it's also got this nice Manettino switch on the bottom right of the wheel, which again you can feel out without any visuals of it, with the view cut off from virtual reality, which I set in game to brake bias, so we can just adjust the brake bias up and down as we drive. Normally I set these two buttons to things like DRS and, you know, your general things, windscreen wipers in Dirt Rally, for example. And talking about Dirt Rally, again, with the Thrustmaster T300, if you haven't played Dirt Rally with a force feedback steering wheel, you need to find someone that has a T300 and you need to give it a go, because you'll find it really hard to go back to playing without a force feedback wheel, because the experience is on another level in terms of what you feel from the vehicle. So you get this in track simulators as well, but it's not as pronounced because the suspension isn't as loose as it is in Dirt Rally. But as you brake, you can actually feel the weight of the car move forwards just from the way that the force feedback stops resisting or pulls less or more left and right. You can actually, I'll go into this corner here, but you actually get a sensation of scrubbing off the speed just from the force feedback. So as I'm turning, as I load up, you can hear the skid coming in because the wheels are actually going over the traction threshold. But as I do that, the wheel goes from having a solid resistance to then a lower resistance. So you get this really nice analog. So you see, I can just go over, there's a sort of threshold that as the car starts skidding, you get a really nice analog feel as to when your tyres have grip or when they don't have grip. Let's do it one more time going into this corner. I'm not sure how much you can see it in the video, but I can feel a really defined pressure as I turn. It's a really defined pressure, and then when the tyres start skidding, it goes a lot easier. And you're sort of pushing against that resistance and feeling it. And as I say, having sat in a real car around a track, and especially I find this with Assetto Corsa's force feedback, I've been around Donington GP in a car, Donington GP track in a car, and although it's abstract from the real feel of what you feel through your bum and your entire body in a real car, you can actually relate a lot of the feelings in a somewhat abstract way through what's communicated through a wheel like the T300. So hopefully that gives you an introduction to the T300, a bit of a review of the T300. If I was going to go out and buy one myself at this point in time and I didn't have a force feedback wheel already, I'd make sure I get the version that comes with the clutch brake pedals, and I'd make sure I get the version that either has I think that one comes with a leather ring, or it might be the Alcantara rim, but I'd definitely get that over the default rim. Mostly for the pedals, to be honest, just so you've got a clutch, because it's very useful, and it means that in the future it'll be a lot cheaper when it comes to if you want to get a shifter. And that is one of the downsides with the T300. It doesn't come with a shifter, so you will have to get that separately if you want to do that. But all in all, if you were going to spend, I think it's about 230 to it might be 250 for the one that comes with the 3 pedals. I got this one for £190. But if you were going to spend between 190 and 250 on a steering wheel, I would go out and get a T300. It's going to do you and last you really long. We've had this one for almost a year now, and I sim race every other day for an hour or so. And we do things like drifting, stuff that absolutely hammers the wheel. So I couldn't recommend it more. If you are interested and you want to help the channel out, if you're looking to get one, I'm going to put a link, an Amazon affiliate link, underneath the video. So if you click on that and you buy through that, we get a little bit of kickback for it, which would be awesome. It means we'll be able to do better videos in the future. But feel free to ask any questions about the wheel and about force feedback in general. I'm going to do some more videos talking about force feedback, hopefully go over some points that we might have missed. We'll probably look at trying to do a bit of this mixed reality lark with Dirt Rally, and then we can talk about the force feedback in that, because again, that game has really good communicative force feedback. But until then, check out Marcus Pixfer, whose name I'm probably saying wrong. Check out his mixed reality videos, because he's done a fantastic job with them. You can see what's going on with his wheel as well. put a link to that in the description. But until we go to our next video, thanks for watching this. I hope it helped you. And I'll wave at my face because that's where the camera is this time. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Those of you on the left-hand side, please take a look out of your windows and enjoy the view of the rock faces that could spell instant death should we fly into them. And those of you on the right, you can now see the water and it's gone. As we just turn right, smoothly avoiding crashing into the hillside.